Hi everyone, I'm Kloo. Welcome to some more Storybook Brawl. I think we'll play Charon, however you want to pronounce it. Definitely lock for the pair and then the castable spell on turn 2. I think I'm going to try and make more of a conscious effort to try and play well. So usually I go after fun builds. Instead, I think I want to try and learn to get better and, you know, crack 4K, legend bracket, or whatever it is. In line with that, the current meta, I believe, is monsters. So, only kings being on 5 is really powerful, and you can generally keep up with most scaling builds. So, generally, that's what I'm trying to swing for, you know, unless treasures or anything, plus otherwise. We'll continue to lock. I think just having the pair available. Quite good. We did get the Cinderella and the Castle Spell. I don't hold much stock in level 2 treasures. They're very synergistic, actually. So, what I mean by that is, like, Ring of Meteors. You need builds dependent on that. They're very low power, but high reward if you actually go in that direction. So, I like to get them later in the game, and Cinderella is perfect for that because it's one you will slowly get to. Although, see, I don't, especially against Peter, I don't want to triple the bad Billy. I would rather have the board presence, and it's whether or not the Wizard's Familiar unlock again. That way, Genie's Wish. You could have maybe argued just grabbing the Wizard's Familiar and the Genie's Wish. Though this is more stats, so you would have had to get lucky. And obviously, I want to try and be economic with gold. That means, you know, playing to curve like most card games, rather than just doing what appears to be best off the bat. And I should probably lock before I forget. Considering the Wizard's Familiar probably would stick around longer, I should have maybe put it first. Try and get the buffs. I just kind of forgot that we're playing Charon. Probably taking the Bad Billy, casting, and then I guess the Black Cat. We don't have any good, so it's not worth. Monster Manual. So even though we don't have any monsters, I think it's still the most viable, especially once we hit 4. Being able to consistently grow like a friendly spirit is just really good in my opinion. Gold does help, but I don't think we're too far behind on board presence. So I am going to go with the Monster Manual. Cast a spell. With Gingerbread Party, I think Unicorn's a bit better. And we still want to try and get Wizard's Familiar to die first. Really want to prioritize, although none of these units are really sticking around in the long run. This is a pretty maxed out board. No Share Bear either, so I'm curious how they got a full board like that. Maybe 2 shrinks in a row? Wretched Mummy is perfect. I would also like to cast the Turkish Delight. You know what, we'll cast it, and hopefully there's nothing we want. Fountain of Youth, I think that's worth it. The fact that we get to hit level 4 sooner. Put the Billy Gruff up, but we definitely want the Wretched Mummy to die to get both the Monster Manual and Charon's effect. This game is all about consistently trading. If you can get more than 1 for 1, you're way better off. think a lot of people value attack because of that, more than health. Would have been great if we could hit the pig. It does appear like we're still losing. Think we're gonna be last? No? They're with the fates. 2 monsters. It's good. What do we want to do? We definitely want both of them. We're probably gonna sell something. Whether or not we lock. Probably the unicorn. And we'll backline the Medusa. So I think I'm happy with either of them getting Charon's buff. Again, the Woods Familiar has its use, but both of these are pretty much outlived. We are definitely behind on units though, unfortunately. Getting there with the Wretched Mummy. On something lucky. Alright. Starting to make our comeback. Definitely want a friendly spirit though. Only we had a tree. Nothing really helpful there for our board type. Midnight just because it's a monster maybe? Guess we have to. Can't just keep rolling. I do feel like the current set, if you want to call it, is way overbloated in units. There's just too many different archetypes? I don't know how to say that. There's too many subtypes we'll go with. So obviously you've got monsters, mages, royals, dwarves, good, animals. There's lots of builds that used to be somewhat as compatible, but now they're very much varied into the extent that you can't cross over, because there's no real big evil category, for instance, but you can run a fairy godmother in with royals, with lots of different animals, with lots of different good pairings. We can't run a pumpkin king with most. There's just some odd ducks that don't quite fit anymore, when before, you know, they were more powerful, so they were the things you built it around, and you could have much more flexible builds because they were the linchpin. Take it just for the pair. Yes, we're casting the earthquake. 15. See, if it was tripled, I'd be more than happy with 15, because 30 to most things, unless you're coming against someone who's playing trees. We'll stick with that for now. We'll continue to grow it. Also, pairings and triples. You have to get lucky. I mean, I roll a lot. I probably roll more than I should, because generally, I don't have a good interpretation of reading what's open. So obviously, if you see certain units multiple times, you know that's what's open. I'm not quite good at picking up on that. I'd rather, like, obviously I have Monster Manual and I have monsters. So I'm looking for monsters. I don't care if someone else is, I'm looking for them. So I roll a lot. And what you notice is you don't see a lot of variation anymore. The pool is so bloated that there's a lot of stuff that is open. And a lot of stuff that you'll see missing. For instance, we saw two, I'm trying to think what they are, the elders for trees. Yet we saw probably one nutcracker and a bunch of happy little trees. I don't think we saw any Great Woods. And just stuff like that where I see 2 of them, and that's really strong, especially on turn 4, on the get-go. Not turn 4, level 4. But I don't want to take them because I'm not in trees. So like right now, royals, animals, kinda. But these are pretty awful. One roll. Slay, monsters. I guess just gloves of thieving. 1 gold. Yeah. Neon. Still just looking for key things for my build. Like, we definitely want the Siren. Back row. Yeah. Stealing better. We had the Only King. Stealing would be better. But 11 is not strong enough. But yeah, I just feel like there's too many things. When I first started playing the game, you know, you could generally mishmash anything together, and it was strong enough. But there's such a gap between someone who has a complete set of dwarves and someone who's running half dwarves, half something else, or someone who has, you know, fully into royals versus someone who's got, you know, an upgraded Arthur and maybe 1 other royal. It just seems to me you have to set up something that's right, and in this continuously draft sense, it's beginning not to function well. So like, we finally get the Friendly Spirit. It's a bit late. And Only King, it's a bit better. But see, like this comp now that we have the linchpin behind it, and this is the issue. Every comp now has 1 linchpin that functions within the comp, but not by itself. So Only King, if you don't have monsters, doesn't work. King Arthur, if you don't have royals, doesn't work. Whereas before, if you think about the big winners, which were good boys, as long as you had good, evil pumpkin, as long as you had evil, and the fact that everything is split between those 2, sorry, 3, neutral as well, it was a lot more synergistic. Because I could run royals with a good boy. I could run, whatever you want to call them, summons with a Pumpkin King. But now if I have an Only King, I have to run monsters. And me taking out, like me running this bad Billy over anything, or this Wizard's Familiar over anything, is not worth it, because there's always the chance that 2 hits, and it's greater. I just think they need more flexible units. And I remember reading something early on that their main idea was never to nerf something, you know, make it unplayable. It was keep the power level high so it feels rewarding. And I feel like they've been missing that lately, where they have just nerfed things into the ground. And they've begun this bad pattern. Water Wraith is pretty good. Take you, take you. Yeah, take you. And upgrade. Yeah, they've begun this bad pattern of trying to equalize everything. In doing so, nothing is powerful anymore. Echowood, for instance. Echowood you could run in any comp, because back when Echowood was the mainstay, every comp focused on exponential growth. They've, for the most part, gone rid of exponential growth. The highest is still Lordy, but even that is not the huge numbers it used to be. And the issue with that is that's all centered around Echowood because they don't want Echowood to be as viable as it was. Yet, they should have brought everything up to that level. In my opinion, at least. Like, Oni King, could it compete with Lordy? At what point could it compete with Lordy? You know, 10, 10, 20, like, it was flexible enough that you could. And then, yes, it's still everyone go with Echowood. So then, what else could you do? Well, they could have made Echowood more specific. There's all these different tweaks that I would have liked being explored more. And I don't follow the beta branch or the development branch or whatever it is. I read them now and then. But I definitely feel like the state of play is not anywhere close to what it was. And that's unfortunate. Because it was really fun, going after huge numbers. I think we're just trying to triple. I mean, this comp's pretty stable. I think they could get away with a draft system. Sorry, not draft, a constructed system. Or actually a pool system. I don't know how big the play base is. But, you know, if people could build their own pool. Because there's a lot of fluff that I would eliminate. And just introduce more copies. Because I think the whole aspect of racing towards one specific set of characters is not fun. Like, there's no worse feeling than I have everything lined up for monsters, but I'm not the one to get the Oni King first. Oni Tyrant, is it now? Yeah. And in line with that, the worst game I've ever had was Geppetto, where I had all the perfect treasures, Summoning Portal, Ring of Rage, Replicator, but here's the kicker, I did not get one Last Breath character, as in one Last Breath character that summoned something else. Everything I got was just different characters, which made my whole ability invalid. And yes, there's a skill to being able to find out where you fit and build the best build, but the point is not all the builds are equal. So it falls back to being a race. What Wizard definitely needs something as well. Like, this would be completely viable if there was a way to grow What Wizard. I think Royals is still the most inconsistent and the worst scaling. Like, if everything lines up, it's great. But the chances of everything lining up is just horrible. I mean, I think everyone has a pretty low power currently, so we are winning. One of them had only tyrants. We'll have to see. Don't have any support. Let's take the gold. I actually want to look at Lordy. Anything else I want to add? Well, it's been a consistent game. Did get somewhat lucky. I'll have to see. I'm going to play a few back to back. Either ends with me satisfied or very frustrated. First throne. That's the worst. Because Cursed Throne enables Royals to go with Oni and Yorm, so get both the monster tag and slay. We're near the end, so I'm just going to offload things I don't need and try to look more impactful. At this stage, Choop is probably not necessary. We want to run both Oni Kings. I'd kind of like to run the Grumble, but the Medusa is just more valuable. Siren is good, it's not upgraded though. You're never being played. Choop. Yes, trying to grow the Oni Kings. It's just whether or not random is better. We'll see what the Tiger has. Either way, we're top 4, so I don't lose any points. But yeah, I strongly feel the state of the game is a mishmash of everything. As random as it sounds, let me try to explain. So, there is too many themes going on. Treasures are too specific, and unit compatibility is too specific. If you get everything going for you, it's great. But sometimes you just lose because you got unlucky in the shop. Whether that be you can't find any units for treasures, or you just don't get units that go together. We actually... So like, okay. We'll start from level 2. Just have a quick look. So, Tiny, pointless. No one runs a Tiny throughout the whole game. And picking up a Tiny on turn 1, kinda ridiculous. It just doesn't have any impact. Rainbow Unicorn, perfect early on. So the fact that it's high statted. On turn 1, I would always pick Rainbow Unicorn over a high attack unit because on average, you know, your opponent will have between 1 and 3 attack. And if they have 3 attack, they usually have 2 health. If they have 2 health, it's a tie. Poliwog is a good way to outscale everyone, and I think it's fairly balanced. Egg is just trolly. It's a good way to sustain yourself, and obviously going for the treasure is fun. Fanny definitely needed for dwarfs. Crafty, another pointless dwarf. By the time Crafty's stats are impactful, you have other dwarves. So if you cut Billy Gruff, Crafty, and Tiny, I think the early game would be more consistent. And there's obviously lots. I think, well, I feel, I don't know because I don't have the numbers, that there are more units. And there's, to be honest, I think their old theme of level 6 units, where they're the staples behind your build, was more impactful. So if they put Baba Yaga back to 6, or if they put what am I looking for? Oni Tyrant back to 6 and buffed it, would kind of be better, because at that point, by the time you reach level 6, you know, it should be more impactful than 10 health. It should be characters that define your build. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed.